Happy New Year, everybody. One of our great Southern traditions is eating black-eyed peas and collard greens on January the 1st. The greens symbolize dollars, and the black-eyed peas symbolize cents. And if you want a greens and black-eyed pea recipe that makes more sense and saves you about 2/3 on the amount of carbs that you're eating, then stick around. So the traditional New Year's Day meal in the South has taken an unexpected keto turn. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to make the best Southern greens that you've ever had. And if the superstition holds true, and you eat these on New Year's Day, it's going to put more money in your pocket. I'm also going to show you an alternative to the black-eyed pea that's definitely unexpected and probably a little controversial. So if you want to have good luck all year round, have lots more money, just like they say when you eat these, let's get the ingredients together. I'll show you how to cook these greens, and then I'll show you the unexpected ingredient to make the black-eyed peas. Here's what you're going to need to make these delicious Southern collard greens. You're going to need some collard greens, of course. Now, I buy these in the bag because they're already washed. You can get your own. What you're going to need to do is throw them in the sink, rinse them really well to get all the sand and dirt and stuff out of them. It takes quite a while to go through the process of doing that. So I like to get them already in the bag like this. And so it takes 3 bags of these because you want about 3 pounds. A lot of times if I can find them locally, I'll get them locally. But at the time I was shooting this video, I just got them at the grocery store. You're going to need an onion. You're going to need some bacon. You're going to need a smoked ham hock. You can find these at your regular grocery store. A lot of times it'll be in the section where the country ham and things like that are. If not, you can just ask your butcher and they'll find it for you. You're going to need some of this Splenda Magic Baker Blend. As you know, that's my favorite. You're going to need some Worcestershire sauce. You're going to need some apple cider vinegar, some salt, some pepper. You're going to need some garlic powder and some onion powder. You're going to need some smoked paprika. You're going to need some seasoning salt or a Cajun seasoning. I love this one, this Raging Cajun, all-purpose seasoning made for y'all. I mean, and it is. But if you don't want that little bit of spice in there, just some regular seasoning salt will work just fine. You're going to need some water, and you're going to need some of this chicken bone broth concentrate. And you're going to need some liquid smoke. Now this is optional, but I believe that this gives it the absolute best flavor that it can get, since I'm using a combination of bacon and the ham hocks instead of just ham hocks. So I would highly recommend this ingredient, but it is optional. Let me get all these ingredients prepped and measured out, and we'll start with these greens. Now, even though these greens are already washed and shredded, one thing that they don't do is remove the stems. Now this is optional, but I don't like those stems. When they cook down, they're very woody, and I just don't like the texture. So what I like to do is take the stems and just move them off to the side. So you just rip them off like that. Toss those, and I just throw that right back into the bag until I'm ready to throw them in the pot later. I even take out the smaller ones like that. Like I said, you don't have to do that, but I just find it gives it a lot better texture, and it ends up being really nice and silky in the end. Because they are already shredded, you may be able to skip that step on a lot of these greens. So I'm just going to go through all 3 bags like this, get rid of these stems, and then we'll move on to the next step. And now, through the magic of YouTube, 3 seconds later, these greens are all gone through and ready to use later. And it takes a little while to go through these, but this is one of those food or love things right here. You put your heart and soul into this, you put the love into it, and it shows through in the taste.
2 bags.
3 bags. Now I would say this is a little bit of false advertising here. It says collard greens, a savory Southern classic. But I can promise you, if you eat them out of the bag like this, and you don't cook them to this recipe, they're not going to be savory. They may be Southern, but they're definitely not going to be a classic. If you don't cook them like this, you might as well go outside, pick some leaves off an oak tree and just eat those. But this recipe, you're going to love. So all I'm going to do with this bacon is just cut this pack in half. with these kitchen shears. And if you don't have any of these, I definitely recommend it because it makes everything as far as cutting meat so easy. Now I'll just put this back in the fridge. I'm using half a pack of bacon on this. You could cook this down in the pot also. I just find this is really easy. I'm just gonna cut it into slices like this. Basically like strips. And then once this is done cooking, you're gonna have your bacon grease for flavoring and also the bacon to add some good flavor. So all I'll do here is just throw these in this bacon grill. I just kind of toss them in. I don't pay too much attention to it. Just kind of toss them in, just move them around a little bit so there's no huge chunks laying in there. Just spread it out a little bit. I had just cooked some bacon in here right before this, so why not use it again? So I'm gonna throw that into the microwave for 5 minutes and we'll check on it after that. Now while that bacon's cooking, let me just show you in real time how fast it is to dice an onion with my favorite kitchen tool. I'm just gonna cut that into quarters like that. I'm gonna remove these peels. And hey, if you got fingernails, I bet it makes this a whole lot easier. But I don't have any, so I just struggle through this part. Now I'll just take my chopper, and I've got the small dice on there. You can use the large dice if you want. You're not gonna hurt my feelings a bit. I just put it in there, and I've got my diced onion right there. And now I've got this large pot. I don't know exactly how many quarts this is. This is what I use to make all my big like sauces and anything. I'll put a link down below so you can know exactly how many quarts it is, but it's big. Put my hands on there for reference, but it's a nice size. Oh, there it is. It's a 12 quart, if you can see that. Right on the bottom. So I'm gonna take my bacon and my bacon grease from right here out of the grill and just dump it right in. Make sure you get all that bacon grease out. Now I'm just gonna start cooking this on a medium heat until it renders down just a little bit more. You don't want it crispy. You want it to be a little bit under medium. Now a lot of people will add the onions in later. I like to go ahead and do it now and just cook those down a little bit. I'm just building on these flavors. This is layer on layer of flavor here. So I'll let that cook down for a little bit and I'll show you when it's time to throw the ham hock in. So now if you can see this, these onions are just starting to get a little bit translucent, and that's the point we want to go in and add some water in here and the ham hock. Now if you don't like bacon for some reason, you're probably on the wrong channel, but if not, you can use a larger ham hock instead of adding in the bacon. I just like the flavor of both. I think it rounds out the flavor so much, having the two different tastes in there. So I'm just gonna put that right in. I'm gonna add enough water to cover this up. So that was about 8 cups of water there for this one. You may use more depending on if you use a large ham hock or what you use. Then I'm just gonna put in some of this chicken bone broth concentrate. Couple good teaspoons like that. I'm gonna bring this back up to a boil and I'll be right back. Now you see how this is coming up to a boil now? It's getting nice and hot, starting to move around a little bit. I'm gonna let it come to a good rolling boil and I'm gonna put it back down to a simmer and we're gonna let that sit in there for about a half hour. So after 30 minutes, I'm gonna take the lid off. That ham hock's nice and tender. It's time to go in with these greens. So I'm just gonna push them down in there like that. It looks like a lot, but this is gonna cook down a good bit. Bag number 2. Now, I know you were probably thinking at the beginning of this, why was I using such a big pot? This is why, because it takes up a lot of space. So we'll go in with the third one here. And I'm going to start adding some more water to it. So just press this down as good as you can there. Try to get it down in the water as much as possible. And let's just go in with some more water here. So once you've got them pretty much covered up like that, it's close enough. They're not completely covered, but once they cook down just a little, you'll be able to push them down in there and fully cover them. And I like to go back in there with just a little bit more, maybe a couple more teaspoons of that chicken bone broth concentrate. In the South, we call this liquid the pot liquor. And that's what you're gonna be after you eat this delicious recipe too. You're gonna be a pot liquor. But anyway, once this cooks down a little bit, you can go ahead and add in all of your spice mix right in there. And you can go ahead and add in your Worcestershire and apple cider vinegar. I'm gonna bring this up to a boil again. I'm gonna cover it, and it's gonna go for 2 hours. Now, if you wanna have the best new year ever, make sure you subscribe right down there. It's gonna make your year a whole lot better. Okay, I'm kidding. Well, kinda. If you like the videos, just hit the subscribe. Now, while those greens are cooking down, let me show you what you're gonna need for these black-eyed peas that are not peas at all. Remember that half a pack of bacon we used for the greens? Well, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need another onion, small onion. We're gonna need a stalk of celery. We're gonna need some onion powder. We need some smoked paprika. We need some garlic. Now, what is this secret low-carb bean that I'm talking about? It's the black soybean. This comes in a can. There's no salt added. Clean ingredients. Organic black soybeans, water, kombu seaweed. Look at the carb count on this compared to black-eyed peas. In a half a cup, 11 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fiber for 5 grams of net carbs. Uh-oh, I hear sirens. I swear I think they've got this house wiretapped. I believe it's the Keto Police. It is the Keto Police! Well, now that the Keto Police are gone, let's just talk about this for a minute. Soybeans are a very controversial ingredient. You can do your own research on that, but I believe that if you have this once a year, just to spare those carbs so you don't go out of ketosis, or just so you can have an alternative to something that you love, I don't see anything wrong with it. Leave me a comment down there and let me know what you think about it. But I'm saying once a year, if you want to have that, I don't see a thing wrong with it. Or if you just want all the dollars and none of the cents, just cook the greens. That's fine. Hey, you're not hurting my feelings. I'm just trying to show you a way that you can still have that, because those cents add up to dollars over time. Now that that's all over with, let me prep these ingredients. I'll show you what to do next. So just like with the collard greens that we just did, I'm just gonna take this bacon. I'm gonna drop it. And then I'm gonna cut it up into pieces. I'll kind of spread that around a little bit on here. And look, I'll clean this up afterwards. No need in cleaning it up when we just made these collards. And I know there's a lot of bacon, right? Well, I do love some bacon. And I love some flavor. So the combination of those two things together, that's where it's at. Now I'll just kind of spread this out on the bacon grill. I'm gonna put the lid on it. We'll go in for 5 minutes. So really simple here. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna open the can and pour it right in. I'm not getting rid of the liquid. It gives it a nice thickness. Then I'm gonna go in here with the onion and celery. So the bacon has cooked down enough in the microwave, so I can just pour it right into this pan. You can also use the same pan that you're gonna cook the beans in, but there's a real good reason why I didn't. Do you wanna know why I didn't? Because I forgot. But that's okay. So I'm gonna put this on medium so I can start cooking down that celery and onion. I'm just gonna dump the onion and celery in here that I've diced. We'll cook that down for 2 or 3 minutes. So once your celery and onions are cooked about that much, they'll be a little translucent. That's when I like to go ahead and add in these spices, the paprika, the onion, and the garlic. Throw those right on top. We'll start to cook them down. That's just gonna intensify the flavor of it. I wish you could smell that, but I know you can't. We're gonna switch pots. I'm gonna add this right into the pot of beans. And like I said, you could have done this all in the same pot. I just forgot to do it in the same pot. So this is what I ended up with. And we're gonna serve this with those collard greens in just a minute. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you eat your greens. If you want to, eat your beans. And let's make this the best keto year we've ever had. I'm looking forward to it. I've got some great things coming up. And I put some recipes right over here that you might want to look at and make this new year to make your keto journey even easier. I appreciate all you guys' support. Thank you so much for watching. and I'll see you on the next video.